Hello, this is Karthik from Prescient. Today we'll be looking at the last step in our data pipeline. So until now we've been trying to replace the ETL processing. So now we have this new pipeline which is essentially a combination of sources, cleaning and formatting, fusion, operations, validation, data formatting pre-data load, and you have data destinations. And so why is this in place here? Because it's a much more flexible pipeline. What is happening over here is essentially, as a quick recap, you have data from multiple sources coming in. You have data from sensors, databases, edge devices. It can be pretty much anything you want here. Node-RED has a bunch of connectors, and we have all of those on the designer. We have more, in fact, on the designer. Then we have the cleaning and formatting step. The data coming in from all these sources is cleaned and formatted. This is so that your fusion and operation is in the correct format. You can think of it like the classic removal of nulls and things like that. This has an entire video on itself in the series. You can check it out. We have another step which is the data fusion. So data fusion essentially makes sure that your data from multiple sources can come together and work together. So this can be coordinated by timestamps. This can also be a couple of partial data points being generated that need to be joined together. This joined data then goes through a data operation. That data operation is essentially conversion of data. Then we have data validation. Data validation essentially makes sure that the operated data is coming out in the correct format. And all of these steps have been covered in previous videos. You can check it out. Today we'll be focusing more on the output check and the data destinations. So the output check is essentially just making sure that the data is coming out in correct formats. So you have your data validated now. So the validation and the formatting really works well together. And this just makes sure that the data going into, in this case, the destination is influx, has all the necessary parameters. For example, the data coming in needs to be formatted into this kind of a structure. So this is done here. You can make this a lot more interesting by adding an indicator which tells you what kind of a unit you want. You can have that unit being processed here and then being formatted into this kind of an output. This data will essentially go straight into influx now, and influx will be able to load this. And just because your validation and formatting is essentially working together, you have a check and you have a formatter being put together. So that makes your chances of erroring out very low. Even the data being loaded into the database is considered to be clean at this point. The other interesting thing here is how influx essentially processes the data. So you have tags and fields. So our tags can essentially behave as descriptors here. You can also have a tag processor which essentially looks at tags and gives it more metadata based on what you want to add into your source of data. And this is essentially used as a descriptor for these fields. We have another series on a bunch of influx videos. You can check it out. They go into the depths of how to work with influx. So this series was essentially just to give a brief overview on the architecture of how to create a data pipeline in Node-RED and in the designer. This is going to take care of almost all data needs. They do work. We have recently tested this platform to work with extremely high frequency data also, going into the kilohertz very easily. So this pipeline is essentially extremely flexible, and we do manage to process a high volume of data on edge devices too with this. So yes, this will be the entire series on this. Thank you for watching.